So this week's Parshat Miketz, is part 2 of the Joseph saga. Last week, we ended off on a pretty sad note. Joseph was still in prison. The wine bearer forgot who he was, and it seemed that he was going to be stuck there for the rest of his life. But in Parshat Miketz, everything turns around, because as we know, Pharaoh had 2 dreams that were haunting him, and nobody seemed to be able to interpret it until Joseph. And Joseph had an amazing prophecy from God that there were going to be 7 good years in Egypt, followed by 7 years of famine. And for Egypt to survive, they needed to save as many resources from those 7 good years as they could. When the famine ultimately hit the region, Yaakov and his sons were also affected, and they were forced to head down into Egypt to go look for food. And while they were there, Joseph recognized his brothers, even though his brothers did not recognize him. What I want to focus on today is that when Joseph did not reveal himself to his brothers at first, he instead chose to accuse them of being spies. Now, there's so many reasons why Joseph accused his brothers of being spies and why he went through this whole crazy story to bring Benjamin into Egypt. But what I want to focus on is the spy part. Why spies? He could have accused them of so many things. One of the most beautiful ideas I ever heard was from Rabbi Ari Khan, and it was that even though Joseph knew the brothers came to Egypt looking for food, he was hoping maybe deep down that they were looking for him, that they were spies, that they had a whole cover story, because they were the ones that sold him into slavery in Egypt. And maybe when they were on this journey for food, they thought that this would be a great opportunity to secretly wonder if they could find their brother who they had abandoned years earlier. And I've just been thinking a lot about that, because how unbelievable is that? You know, when we wrong somebody, right? We probably assume that they hate us, they never want to see us again, never want to talk to us again. And that fear, I really believe, cripples the individual to ever making peace, to ever ask for forgiveness, to ever start the process to rectify the broken relationship. But from the Joseph story, we learn that that's not the case. That when somebody wrongs us, deep down, we really want to hope that they want to do better, that they didn't mean to hurt us, that even after so many years, they're coming back and they want to figure out where we are and how to make the situation better. Because I'm sorry, no matter how much somebody might hurt you in their life, it's pretty hard to top selling your sibling into slavery and lying to your elderly parent that this sibling died. I mean, that's pretty extreme. So if Joseph, of all people, could deep down hope that his brothers were looking for him, imagine the people in our lives who we've wronged. And that's the lesson I want to stress, and I want to leave everybody with this Shabbos. Because from the Joseph story, we end up having the whole family coming back together again. But it wasn't because of the brothers. It was because of Joseph. Joseph was seeking out his brothers. He sought them out the day that they decided to throw him in the pit, and he sought them out even until the very last moment. And because Joseph had this mindset that he wanted his brothers to be spying, looking for him, I really believe that's why the brothers ended up doing tshuva, and they ended up not having the fear to avoid Joseph, but he gave them the hope to come back. So if you've hurt someone in your life, I dare you to have the courage to seek out that person and make peace. And if you're the person who was hurt, deep down, maybe you want them to come to you as well. And, you know, hopefully we all can have better relationships from the stories that we learn from the Torah, because they're not just meant from our ancestors long ago. It's a blueprint for how we're supposed to handle our relationships in the future. Shabbat Shalom.